Ladies and gents, you know it's the Cleanup Gang, and I don't miss nothing at all. So, guys, in this video, I'm going to give you the blueprint on defeating Errol Spence Jr. or what Terrence Crawford should do to defeat Errol Spence Jr. or what Terrence Crawford is going to do to defeat Errol Spence Jr. Now, if you look at Errol Spence Jr., right? Look at Errol Spence Jr.'s fighting style. You look at how Errol Spence Jr. fights. Errol Spence Jr. is a southpaw, right? He stands at 5'10" with a 72 arm reach. A big fighter, the biggest guy in the welterweight division besides Jerron Boots Ennis, right? Errol Spence Jr., he fights with a high guard, right? He comes forward with a high guard. He baits you with a jab, and 90 or 85% of his punches is going to the body. So his jab is not to hurt you. His jab is to bait you. And then he goes to the body. Now, if you watch boxing, you realize fighters, they tend to go to the head instead of the body. But not Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. find out the blueprint. Why should I go to the head, right? When the head moves more than the body, right? And the body is bigger than the head. So why go for the head when I could go for the body? Number one, when you hit somebody in their body, you're taking the steam out of them. They're going to get tired, right? If you watch the Errol Spence Jr. and the Yordenis Ugas fight, a lot of people is wondering why Yordenis Ugas wasn't able to move like in the 7th round or the 8th round. He wasn't moving a lot. Because Errol Spence Jr. spent round 1 through 6 baiting Yordenis Ugas with a jab and just hitting him straight to his body. So by the time it was like the 8th and 9th round, Yordenis Ugas was done. His body was done. The steam was out of him. His legs was weak because Errol Spence Jr. already did the job on breaking his body down, right? A lot of people say Errol Spence Jr. is a technician. He has one technique. I wouldn't go far as saying that he's a technician. He has one technique, right? And that technique, I can't say that it works 100% of the time. And y'all got to hear me out, right? Because if you pay attention, Errol Spence Jr. versus Sean Porter, Errol Spence Jr. wasn't that successful with landing those body shots. The reason why he wasn't that successful landing those body shots, because Sean Porter did not stand in front of Errol Spence Jr. The reason why Errol Spence Jr. wasn't that successful using the jab is because Sean Porter did not stand in front of Errol Spence Jr., right? It's very hard to hit a moving target. It's hard to hit a moving target. And remember, I just told you that Errol Spence Jr. is 5'10", right? And he's one of the biggest guys at the welterweight division. He's not that quick on his feet. He's not that quick on his feet. So he doesn't have the ability to corner his opponents. The only way he's going to corner his opponents is if they're standing there. He doesn't need to corner them because their body is right there in front of him. If you pay attention to Sean Porter gave Errol Spence Jr. hell. That's why it was a split decision. And a lot of people felt like even with the knockdown, Sean Porter won, which is crazy to me, right? Because Sean Porter was able to go in and out. He was able to go side to side. And he was able to take away Errol Spence Jr.'s jab and all those body shots that he inflicts on his mobile opponent, stationary opponents. Now, if you look at a guy like Terrence Bud Crawford now, Terrence Bud Crawford stands at 5'8" with a 74 arm reach, right? He's definitely one of the quickest guy, if not the quickest guy, apart from Jerron Boots Ennis, at 147. Terrence Crawford utilized the ring like, I can't say him like Phil Money Mayweather. He don't move around like that much, but he's capable of doing it. If you look at Terrence Crawford performances like against Victor Postol, and you look at performance against what's his name, Jeff Horn and Felix Diaz, Terrence Crawford was able to utilize the ring. If you look at performances against Jose Benavidez, Terrence Crawford, he was the smallest guy, right? He was a smaller guy when he faced off against Victor Postol and Jeff Horn and Jose Benavidez. But what made Terrence Crawford performance great in that fight, he attacked the body and he was countering very well. When you attack the body, right, it slows down your opponents. And a guy like Terrence Crawford, if he's supposed to fight Errol Spence Jr., he's going to realize that, right? Because his IQ is very high, right? Errol Spence Jr. is not that fast. He fights with a high guard. He's the biggest guy at 147. So imagine you fight with a high guard. When you fight with a high guard, your hands is by your face. So that leaves open for body shots, right? It leaves open for body shots. So a guy like Terrence Crawford, he's going to be able to attack the body of Errol Spence Jr., right? Notoriously attacking the body of Errol Spence Jr., right? Because if you look at Errol Spence Jr., he doesn't have a lot of movements. His movements is not a lot, right? He comes forward more than how he gets. I see a lot of people saying, oh, look at how he fought against Mikey Garcia. I already made a video about that. Mikey Garcia is 5'6", right? With a 68 arm reach and a featherweight. So Errol Spence Jr. could do whatever the hell he wanted with a Mikey Garcia. But a guy like Terrence Crawford with a 74 arm reach, right, that is very strong and physical, Errol Spence Jr. is going to realize that I can't just come forward with the best counterpuncher in boxing. If you look at Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter, and this is where I was getting at, Terrence Crawford was able to neutralize the move in Sean Porter, the pressure in Sean Porter, due to body shots, right? He was able to land those vicious body shots on Sean Porter and slow down Sean Porter, made Sean Porter very angry and very disorientated. So Sean Porter started off the fight boxing, and Sean Porter, he couldn't deal with the Terrence Crawford being able to box better than him, and Sean Porter getting countered, so Sean Porter got back to his regular ways and he started lunging forward, right? And Terrence Crawford was able to land those vicious body shots, right? And that slowed down Sean Porter and opened up Sean Porter to getting dropped later on in the round, right? So that would be Terrence Crawford blueprint to defeat Errol Spence Jr. Attack the body. Errol Spence Jr. is vulnerable to body shots. He doesn't like body shots. So a guy like Terrence Crawford that had the feet advantage and the hand speed, right? He can go in and out with the Errol Spence Jr. without getting hit, because Errol Spence Jr., he doesn't have the fastest hands in the world. He's kind of slow. And the reason why he's that slow is because he's 5'10" and he walks around at 190. And when he rehydrates back to the weight that he feels strong, it's probably like 170. So you fighting a Terrence Crawford that probably rehydrates up to 155. Terrence Crawford is going to be way more lighter on his feet. He's already lighter on his feet than Errol Spence Jr. So I don't see how Errol Spence Jr. would win that fight. Apart from Terrence Crawford being quicker than Errol Spence Jr., Errol Spence Jr. tend to throw sweeping punches, right? He throws either a right sweeping punch or a left sweeping punch. He doesn't throw straight punches, right? And that is very, very dangerous against an opponent like Terrence Crawford that counters a lot with that sweeping left hook of his or that sweeping right hook of his, right? Errol Spence Jr. throws a high volume of punches, which is dangerous, very dangerous for an opponent like Terrence Crawford that's able to counter, right? So, with that being said, if Errol Spence Jr. is throwing so much punches, Terrence Crawford that is very, very known for punching in between punches, it's going to be a long day for Errol Spence Jr., right? If Terrence Crawford take the approach to attack Errol Spence Jr.'s body early on in the rounds, it's going to be an easy fight for Terrence Crawford. It's going to be a very easy fight for Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence Jr. likes to throw body shots, but he doesn't like to get hit to the body. And that's the key to defeat Errol Spence Jr. Attack the body. Just attack the body. That's what he does, and that's why he's successful. And somebody came out and somebody said Errol Spence Jr., he has the secret, right? He has the code. He figured out the secret. The secret is to bait with a jab and go to the body all day long. That's all he does. That's all Errol Spence Jr. does. When they say he's a technician, that's because he has a technique, right? That makes a whole lot of sense. To attack the body, slow down your opponent so it could be easier to hit them, right? So, if I was Terrence Bud Crawford, that's how I would approach fighting Errol Spence Jr. You attack his body, right? You make him miss a lot. Then you counter him, right? He's going to get frustrated because if you look at him and Sean Porter, he couldn't do shit with Sean Porter, bro. When Sean Porter was fighting on the outside, he couldn't do shit with Sean Porter. Sean Porter didn't just stood in the pocket with him. If you stand in the pocket with Errol Spence Jr., you're going to have elite countering ability to do that. And Terrence Bud Crawford has that. He has all of that shit, right? So, I don't know how Errol Spence Jr. is going to win this fight. But like I said, if Terrence Bud Crawford approached the fight like how I said he should, like to go to the body, it's going to be an easy fight. It's going to be an easy fight. Now, it would be harder for Terrence Bud Crawford if Terrence Bud Crawford is headhunting. Like, don't headhunt, bro. It don't make sense to headhunt. He can take a punch, and I give him that. This man can take a punch. He gets staggered, he get hurt, but he doesn't go down. The ropes keep him up sometimes, but I've seen him get punched flush straight on his chin in the middle of the ring and did not go down, right? He can take a punch to the face, but to the body, he doesn't like that shit. Y'all really got to watch Errol Spence Jr. fights and look at how he reacts when he gets hit to the body. That's why he goes to the body, because he knows that's an uncomfortable feeling to hit an opponent to the body. Why do you think when Terrence Bud Crawford pulled up on Errol Spence Jr., Errol Spence Jr.
Don't try that, Lord. Don't try that.
That's why Errol Spence Jr. grabbed Terrence Bud Crawford abs to see if Terrence Bud Crawford was solid. Then he found out that Terrence Bud Crawford was solid. And if you pay attention, Terrence Bud Crawford said, don't try to go to the body. Don't try to that little... Errol Spence Jr. tends to duck his head and just attack the body. If you watch, he did that against Kell Brook, and he did that against Yordenis Ugas, right? And that's how he fights. But Terrence Bud Crawford, as you can see in the video, he already figured out how Errol Spence Jr. fight. That's why he's confident that he will beat Errol Spence Jr., right? So if Terrence Bud Crawford already figured that out, then I'm just waiting for the fight to be made, because Terrence Bud Crawford is gonna stop Errol Spence Jr. He's gonna stop him. He's going to stop him. And this is when Errol Spence Jr. started making the whole excuses. This is when, and y'all got to pay attention, this is when Errol Spence Jr. started talking all that 80-20 and wrong side of the street shit. This is when he started that shit heavy, when this encounter happened, because he realized that Terrence Bud Crawford figured him out, and then he realized that Terrence Bud Crawford had a very solid body, right? He realized that he couldn't just go to the body, and Terrence Bud Crawford wouldn't be that effective even if he went to the body. So, y'all see what I got for y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all share this video. Make sure y'all hit that subscription button. This is how Terrence Bud Crawford would defeat Errol Spence Jr. And I'm out.